Alrighty.
All right, roll it, Johnny.
Bing buzz.
All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and whatever else might be lurking out there in the darkness. This is a brand new Pink Spots, and for the first time, I think, in the show, we're actually going to do a show that's just about manga. This is about one manga creator in general, one Mr. Tsutomu Nihei, but he probably is my favorite. I mean, we'll get into it like when we get into the books we're going to be talking about. But Joy, what are the books from Mr. Nihei we're going to be speaking about this wonderful evening?
He did a Marvel. Marvel got him to do one of their main characters, Snikt, Wolverine Snikt. This came out in 2003, I believe, the original run.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. Yeah,
it was when I kind of first started getting kind of back into Marvel a little bit after a long time.
Yeah, and it's funny, our timing these days. Something always comes up when we're talking about something. Like on our music episode, we're talking about Better Lovers, and now we're talking about Wolverine. And then they just a bunch of clips and pictures got dropped yesterday from the new Deadpool movie with Hugh Jackman in the yellow Wolverine outfit that everyone's losing their shit over.
It's all they ever needed to do. I mean, that's all the fans ever asked for, and look at how good it looked.
It does look. It actually does. It does look pretty good, I have to admit. Yeah.
And it looks dead on from like when I was a kid. The yellow and purple. Mm-hmm. I mean, yellow and blue suit. Purple, I think.
Yeah, and they made it pretty bright. Like the blues, like it's good. Like they didn't like make it navy blue so it almost looks black. Like it's cool.
No, yeah, it's X-Men color blue and gold. You know what I mean? It straight up looks like it was colored in an old Claremont book. You know?
Yeah. So that's nice that they did that.
Somebody, yeah.
Yeah. So this is so anyone who's looking to wet their whistle with some Wolverine stuff, man. Well, anyway, we'll get into this, but this is definitely something you should go check out. It's pretty cool.
And we're also going to be about Mr. Nihei's breakthrough work, the manga Blam. I know it's spelled with an E, and you should say blame. That's not how it's pronounced, though. Like, for some reason, it is actually called Blam. I think that they misspelled it when they marketed it, and they never changed it, which is awesome in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little story that people. Yeah, that's it. You know, people can mispronounce it, and adds a little. People could argue about it.
And I absolutely adore this book. I'm definitely going to fanboy the fuck out about this when we get to it. But before we get completely into that, do you have a check-in, Joe?
Yeah, man. We've been checking out The Witcher. We watched all 6 episodes, the first part of the season. I think the second part drops at the end of the month, maybe on the 27th or something like that, July. So another 2-3 weeks, and the second half of the season's dropping on Netflix, and not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah. How's the new actor?
He's not in it yet. It's still
Cavill.
Still for the first half anyway. The first half of the season is still Cavill. So I don't know if he's doing this whole season and then he's done after this one, or maybe that's why there's a break, because maybe he left the show, so they had to stop production and recast, and maybe that's why there's this little break to. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be in the second part or if it'll be Hemsworth. Will be the
right. It's the other Hemsworth, not one of the Scars.
Liam. I think Liam is his name. Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah,
I think that might be it. Anyway, but yeah, Thor's brother's supposedly taking over the role of.
He's got the hair for it, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
he's got the look. I mean,
I think Liam's a little taller too, so that might make him seem more imposing. I don't know, but
I've only ever seen him in a few things. But like his brother, Chris Hemsworth, is one of my favorite people. I love that guy. So if he's anywhere near as cool as his brother, he should be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we thought that's what we were thinking too. It was supposed to be Liam who was supposed to be taking over, because that's what was leaked and that's what everyone was talking about. But he's not in it yet, so. Yeah, so Henry gets his last little hurrah. People get another little taste of him as
Well, I mean, it's not like they're gonna have to wait too long to see him back in that kind of role. He just got cast as like one of the main characters in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion movie. I'm
Okay.
like, I got a picture of him all elfed out with the white hair again and shit. So like,
Oh yeah,
it,
they're doing a Silmarillion movie.
yeah, that's the first thing I heard about it too. I didn't know they were doing one until all of a sudden I see that big doofus out there just like with white hair again, like I got a sword.
Yeah, he's all right as the
No,
what's
I've grown to
the
like him. I didn't like him at first as Superman, but like he's really grown on me. Like he's kind
yeah.
of showing that he's a doofus, and I like that about him. Like
Mm.
it's better than him not having any personality, like when he first started out. So
And I've been doing an episode a month on the N Pod, and so I was reading. I bought a while back. I bought the slipcase for Swamp Thing. So we're doing a little bit of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. So got up to issue 50 of that. So that's read a little bit of Swamp Thing. I read most of it. I think I read up to issue 40 something. So I only had like 5 issues to read that I hadn't continued. So it'll give me an excuse to finish my Swamp Thing that I started a long time ago.
get in my Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Some
They
good
should
old
do a
Alan
Shrek.
Moore.
They should do a Shrek versus Swamp Thing comic. That'd be pretty awesome, man. Like,
That would be pretty funny. Yeah.
I think like Cy Spurrier or somebody like that could like do that really fun.
Possibly.
Yeah, he's pretty goofy. Like I think Spurrier could have fun with Shrek and Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm. And what else? I think that's it. I think that's my check-in. I don't think we really. Oh, I finished The Bear as well. Yeah.
The new season?
Yeah.
Is it as good as the first? Is it as stressful?
No, it's a little more tame. It's still stressful, but not. But there's one episode that's awesome. The Christmas episode is fantastic. It's probably the best episode of the whole series to date. But the first season as a whole, I thought was better.
I think Carmy, the guy who plays Carmy, should be the new Wolverine. Like he's short and he's got the hair for it. Just get him ripped, and I think he'd be a pretty.
Well, he's already getting like if you watch the show, he's pretty.
Yeah, he's pretty cut, but like not big enough
yeah.
to be Wolverine.
No, yeah.
He'd have to get his arms bigger, but like
He'd have to bulk up. Yeah. But he's already pretty like.
Yeah, he's on his way. Like he wouldn't have to do. They just have to like.
Just steroid him up.
Yeah, just juice him.
Roid him up, and he'll get all beefy.
But yeah, that's who I'd pick. Like for the new Wolverine, like I was watching the first season, and I just like the one episode where like he kept messing with his hair, and it just kept getting more and more wild. I was like, I think that dude could play Wolverine pretty good, you know? Like
possibly, yeah, because he's not too tall either. So like height wise, he would fit the proper height. But
and he's got the rage. Yeah, he's got the rage pretty good. I could see him going berserker barrage.
Yeah. You're not the first person who's mentioned him as maybe as a potentially being cast. I've seen it a few places. A few people started mentioning his name, so I think it would be pretty popular if they did cast him.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think he's up and coming, and I think he's got mad talent. I mean, I think it'd be a good catch if they did get somebody like him.
I like him in everything I've seen him in, so I'd be down for that.
I got kind of a small one. Like I watched the Doom That Came to Gotham, like the newest Batman animated movie, the Mike Mignola based one. Where
oh yeah, what was that on? HBO?
It's on Max. Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun with it. Like I kind of liked the horror imaginings of like the Batman villains, like them kind of being put into this Lovecraftian world. And the end, like I don't know, it kind of reminded me of Devilman, which I thought was neat. Like especially when because Batman like he turns into like an elden creature himself in it, which is pretty rad. And like the way he like moves around and shit, like it just hella reminded me of Devilman, which is like a hella cool thing to say in my opinion, which I didn't expect from like a Batman movie. So I recommend it. It's a little goofy, but I like all those DC animated films, so I think that's where they always really hit home very well.
Oh,
I mean, some of them suck, like the Killing Joke, but they have had a couple bad ones. But
now that you're talking about animation, we did watch the first few episodes of Harley Quinn.
Okay,
the animated one.
I gotta get caught up with that now that like I got Max.
I put it on just in the background, like just play like because I think they're just half-hour episodes. And kind of doing other stuff. And Pat was watching it, and she's like, hey, This is pretty good, actually." I was like, "Yeah, it's supposed like everyone I know that's talked about it said it is good." And we just got it now on Netflix because we can't get it through HBO, so now Netflix has it, so we watch it through Netflix. Yeah,
because it's Adult Swim too, right? Like
Adult Swim. So the rights are kind of weird here. It's not through HBO Max. Us, it's strictly through Adult Swim, which I guess it ran its course. So now I didn't check to see how many seasons they have on Netflix.
I think it's 3 or 4. Like it had a pretty good run.
Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes Netflix doesn't get all the seasons because Adult Swim is still running.
Yeah, it's still.
So it might just be season 1, and then season 2 will come out like within 6 months or something. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check.
And then I got this today, which we've been hella waiting on, and it's kind of relevant to what we're talking about. Total, like, really awesome, some cyberpunk stuff, and we're going to be doing like either a pink spots or a hot flash on this because, like, I really owe Dave Cook. He's one of the first creators that was really cool with me online and stuff. Threw me some review copies of Killtopia, and now that the whole thing's done, we're going to review the whole series and give mad props to Craig and Clark and like everybody else that like worked on the book with Dave. That's got a really good team all the way around. The art is really solid, and yeah, I can't wait to talk about that with you. Can't wait to read this damn thing myself because like I just got it right before the show.
Yeah. The physical copy or just the PDF so far?
Just the PDF so far. I probably won't get the physical copy till end of summer. But that
means I think those came out. You can just order the other volumes through Amazon or anything like that, right?
You can order it through Amazon. He's got like a little store through his BPH comic imprint.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you can just buy it online through lots of different little places, probably.
Yeah, you can find it. Yeah.
But it is available on Amazon if you want to throw that Bezos money around.
Yeah, but I meant like it's not just like if you miss the Kickstarter, it's not like, oh fuck, you won't be able. You can go find it wherever.
It's a very accessible title. Like Dave Cook, he's a legend. He's one of the best guys in crowdfunding, always helping everybody else out and stuff. Really cool dude. So yeah.
Just go online, put in Killtopia shop, and it should pop up wherever you can buy it, all the different spots. Yeah.
And they're little 90-page little digest little kind of manga size books, but
yeah. Thought I had mine kicking around, but I think I put it away.
I highly recommend picking them all up. But yeah, we're going to be covering that in the very near future, probably next week sometime.
Yeah, I think we could do like pink spots on that. 5 issues and if we go spoilers and go really into depth about it. I think because there's a change of artists, there's all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff we could talk about it.
Yep. So yeah, we'll do a pink spots on that next week. And with that, like, you want to just get into these books? You want to start talking about Mr. Tsutomu Nihei?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Which
one do you want to start with?
Snikt.
Yeah, Snikt. All right. So I went and checked. I ordered the trade paperback, like the one you showed on the screen, and but then today I was just curious, so I went and checked. I have the Marvel Unlimited, and they have all the single issues. Well, Marvel's all single issues on the Marvel app, and you could go read this on the Marvel app. So either you get this beautiful with the cover like that, or you could, and it has some. That's one thing that's lacking in the Marvel app is you don't get any of the back matter. Like in this one, you get like probably 12 pages at least of black and white without the colors, which is awesome. You really get to see his work in black and white, which is beautiful, fantastic. And you get it like the gallery, like for all the covers in the back. But when you do the Marvel app, you don't get any of that stuff. And you have Nick Dragata. What's his name?
Nick Dragota, yeah.
Dragota. He does a little blurb in it about Nihei. So yeah, man. Yeah, if you like all that stuff, go track down the trade, which just dropped June 14th, I believe.
Yeah, it's brand new. Like I got so excited when I saw it because I didn't even know they were reprinting it. This is one of my favorite Marvel books. It's what introduced me to Tsutomu Nihei and kind of got me into manga to begin with. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you read this before Blam.
Yeah, it was my
Okay.
introduction to him.
Okay.
That's why I have such a an affinity for it. Why I like it's so nostalgic, and why I was so defensive of it towards you. Because
Well, my criticisms of this book have nothing to do with him at all.
your criticisms of this book are pretty valid, and we'll get into those after we kind of discuss the book a little more.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
But yeah, I just was saying like, yeah, I
I
have.
won't go like ape shit because I got to rant about it because Spanky's not a fan either of what I don't like about it. So, because he was asking me what I was reading and I showed him this and then he was asking us like, yes. Anyway, we'll get into it. I'll tell the story after. So I went on like a 15-minute rant about. Anyway, so I got to get it out of my system. But I'll touch on it, but I won't go as crazy. I'll keep it pretty tame. I won't go like nuclear. Yeah.
But I think this is a pretty good. This is a pretty good introduction into his work because
Mhm.
I mean, like it does have Wolverine in it, but it's very much like one of his books more than like anything Marvel ever put out. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I love the backstory in this. Like Wolverine is just mobbing, runs into this girl named Fusa, and she takes him to the future. And that's
Yeah,
it. Like
that's
it's
it.
it's like maybe 8 panels of backstory, and the rest is just
Well, in issue 3, I think, is where they really go into the backstory.
yeah.
That first part, and they kind of explain what happened, kind of fill Wolverine in on exactly what's going on. But they give you a lot before you get to issue 3, right? So they give you a lot of action, a lot of cool stuff, and then issue 3 they kind of give you 3 pages where they explain everything, like how the world came to be, because it's a dystopian future taken over by these.
the
What would
whole
you call
third
them?
issue is the whole third issue is kind of backstory and exposition because yeah, but they are a biological weapon or not actually a weapon. Like the mandate was originally like a bacteria that was supposed to clean up nuclear waste and anything else, but was supposed to leave biological life alone and
Mhm.
not hurt living things. It was just supposed to clean up all the mess that we've made, but somehow where along the line it mutated and it just started infecting everything and turning it into these great Tsutomu Nihei body horror grotesquities. And the only thing that can really hurt them is adamantium, and
Yeah.
they're running out of it because they used to have these soldiers like this dude the colonel who is basically kind of made out of adamantium, and he's got this very blam arm cannon-esque gun that shoots adamantium rods, but he's running out of them, and that's why they need to get Wolverine
Yeah.
to stop this infection spreading further. Which, I mean, I guess it taken over most of the world. There's only kind of like this one pocket of
A
humans
faction.
left.
Yeah, a faction of humans that are still fighting the good fight.
So it's neat the way he was able to work out that it was like mutation versus mutation. Like kind of a clever little thing that he came up with that kind of fits his style while playing into like a little bit of X-Men tropes. There's a little bit of Western comics in there, but for the most part, like this thing like really toes the line that he was going for, because like he did this right after he did Blam, so there's a lot of just really really long cinematic action scenes that would take up like a majority of the issue, which I absolutely love. I mean,
Yeah, it reads fast. There's a lot of action in it, and the action sequences are fantastic. Like if you like that kind of Daniel Warren Johnson like emotion, like the sketchy lines when he's like punching or action sequences, like Nihei does that a lot. Like when Wolverine's slashing, like he has those like action lines, and it looks really cool, really good stuff. And dude, his fucking creature design is just top notch. Like all the shit he comes up with is just fucking insane. Like it's awesome.
he's got one of the most metal styles ever.
Yeah.
That's why I think I fell in love with his stuff, because it looked like the stuff that I was listening to, like completely.
And like, I mean, the story's pretty basic. Go to the future, save the world. Uh, but man, the action, it's it's good. Like if you want to read like a fun act, like this is would be what, like a sci-fi horror action comic.
Straight
That's
up, yeah.
that's what I would call it. Yeah. Like, well, actually, that'd be the other book. I'll save that for Blam. But what the like the vibes it gave me, like as I was reading it. But I'll save that because it's more the Blam that gave me those vibes. And yeah, man. And like you're reading this, and then you get to the back, right? Like Wolverine goes around kicking ass. Oh, and one little thing is it made me think of a video game a little bit because the Mandate all have like these little red orbs, which is their weak point, right? And to kill them, because if you don't kill the orb or whatever it's called, they can regenerate. So you have to destroy that orb. So it's kind of like a video game where when you have bad guys, you got to target the weak spot in the bad guys. So kind of has that video game vibe to it. Like they could easily have turned this into a video game with all of the mandates with their orbs and stuff, and go as Wolverine and take them all out and shit like that. It would have been pretty cool.
I never thought about that. He does that a lot, though. Like a lot of his villains in his books have like the
Weak
Ghana,
spots.
yeah, the Ghana and Knights of Sidonia are pretty much the same way. You gotta lance the certain core out of them to destroy them. So it's a trope that he really enjoys putting into his creatures, and
Yeah.
I never realized that. Yeah, that kind of is. You gotta weaken them and then like attack the core really fast, and then like they'll build back.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a boss battle in a video game.
Yeah, it is. It's that's exactly what it is. It's like boss battles. Yeah, but I mean, I love his designs. Like the one when they're riding the ship in, and you got the tunnel monster, like the spider-like creature, and like just look at that. You got that spider-like creature that comes in. The one where they're when he's in the compound and they get infiltrated. That one's really cool too. Where he goes to kill the two, and then he comes in through the floor and stabs it. That's really cool. I think that's an issue too. Yeah, that one. That creature design is pretty cool too. I don't know if you have the panel before, but yeah, then the face with the glowing eyes and stuff. It's really cool. Yeah. His work in this is fantastic. Yeah, and his landscapes too. Like
yeah, they
like
don't shine in this as good as they do in a lot of his other work, but yeah, that's what really drew me to his work. Is his backgrounds are always just full of these just intricate backgrounds of just buildings and structures. And this here is a graveyard that Wolverine finds when he's in the kind of backstory issue, and like when Fuse is telling him about like, dude, like honestly, this is all that's left of us. Like, you got to do this, and like he's like, okay, bub, I'll do it. Does this whole Wolverine thing, and it's kind of funny because like the first time she shook his hand, like she transported him to the future. So when he says that he'll help her, she runs over and hugs him, and he's like, "Hey, don't touch me, because last time you sent me to the future."
Yeah,
it's kind of some pretty good humor to it too. Like I think he really got Wolverine as a character, because a lot of his protagonists we'll get into are a little more Jason Voorhees-esque. Like we'll definitely talk about that more when we talk about Blam. But yeah, Wolverine. I thought that he had a lot of fun writing Wolverine, where he kind of cheeks him up a little bit more than he does a lot of his usual protagonists.
Yeah, and like I was saying, the pacing in this is like you get little breaks, but for the most part, it's pretty breakneck pacing for the most part. A lot of action, a lot of like futuristic kind of looking monsters. Yeah, then the big boss at the end is pretty cool too. Then you get like, fuck. Did you have that one where he's jumping in the air?
Yeah.
This one here, yeah, that's really cool. See the head flying? Yeah, you see the head flying. He's just going through and just slicing them up. That's like typical, like when Wolverine fights all the samurais type shot, like in his regular comics,
Doing the Berserker barrage, yeah.
Yeah, doing the Berserkers thing, yeah, it's cool. Then you got the cover picture, which is amazing, like the cover from the trade. You got that panel in there that they took the cover from, like, and I dig that he went with the black leather with the X on the shoulder. You know,
It fits
fits his style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely fits his style. Yeah.
His protagonists usually wear like all black like that. Actually, like most of his characters do. He's got a kind of a, I don't know if you would say a gothy style, but yeah, like especially with kind of like the clothing of his characters kind of come off gothy with the boots and but it's a little more black metal in my opinion than like goth.
Yeah.
But
yeah, wow, that's a nice panel as well.
Yeah, with the skin coming off his arm.
Yeah, you got to do a Wolverine with the fucking the adamantium skeleton showing, man. If you're only getting one shot at Wolverine, you gotta work that in there, which he does great. Like leading up to that final scene, that's like the climax to the end of the scene, close to the end where he's pretty cool stuff. But I wonder why he chose to make everyone like pasty white.
Because I guess that they don't get out into the sunlight too often. They seem to live.
Yeah, but Wolverine comes from the present time, so he wouldn't be all pasty like them.
I think it's just kind of how he does his characters, and like it's weird that they didn't try to override his coloring scheme like they did with everything else in this book, because there's so much that like I don't think that like he said that it should be colored that way, but it was colored that way anyways. But them keeping the characters so ghostly white was like the one thing that they did respect. Is kind of weird.
Yeah, so like, and you see like the black and white, like if you just look at the cover, like look how beautiful that cover is, just as black and white work. Like if they put out another edition of just the book black and white without coloring, I'd rebuy it.
Well, that's where his art shines, because he's so good at penciling. You know what I mean? That like, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna show. Okay, yeah, go ahead and show some stuff from. So I was gonna pull up some stuff from Blam, but yeah,
like these are the pages that are colored in the book, but if you go and buy it, you get a bunch of these pages in black and white in the back matter.
Like, but when it's colored, you don't get any of that detail. Look at all that cross hatching and like the shading,
it does get a little muddied sometimes, right? Because he has a lot of heavy blacks, and that he's pretty loose and wild with his hatching and his inks, right? So when you start adding coloring, if you're not careful, it can get a little muddied, like the images, and that's where we get to the part where I have a little bit of criticisms about it. And it has nothing to do with Nihei himself. It has absolutely nothing to do with him, actually. It has more to do with Marvel. And at this time at Marvel Studios, they were giving a lot of work to Guru FX, which I'm not a huge fan of Guru FX. And what I'll say about them is when they do large pages like this, where they have a large, they're okay. They're, how would you say, adequate?
Yeah.
I'll go. That'll be the biggest compliment I'll give them, is they're adequate. But like Wolverine, I found his face, like shading people, environments, they weren't so bad. But when it got to shading like faces and stuff like that, like with the larger panels, they do a decent job. Like not so bad here. Like when they have a splash page or something, they kind of do a halfway decent job. But in general, I'm not a big fan of the coloring, and I've had many issues with Guru FX on other Marvel books from around this period, like in the early to mid 2000s. I guess they got a lot of work, so it's too bad they couldn't have maybe teamed him up with maybe like I was saying, like maybe a Dave Stewart, Matt Hollingsworth, and you suggested another one. Who was the other one you had suggested when we were talking about it?
Jordi Belair.
Belair, yeah, you said Jordi Belair, yeah. I mean, you know, like I'm not sure. Like I think, is Guru FX like a studio?
I'm not sure. I know that they're probably definitely digital. coloring over.
Yeah, for sure. It's guaranteed it's digital. What I'm thinking, it's like a studio that specializes in like coloring. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like almost like a farm. Like, oh, let's get these students straight out of school and just like fucking pump it out. Like, I don't know. And they're probably cheaper than hiring a professional colorist, like, because it's a studio, so they just get like whatever cheap labor they can find. That's competent enough to do it. But that's my biggest gripe. I won't go nuclear on Guru FX, but I mean, I haven't seen Guru FX name on a Marvel book in a long time. So, and if they do them, I think it's probably just like extremely rare now, which is good, which is a good thing. So
I have a few examples of his work that's been colored, I think by himself. This is from Blam, from Noise. It's a Blam prequel, a standalone graphic novel, and this is the first page of that. Like, how in manga you get the first couple pages in color. So like his artwork can look really neat and can be done with showing all his detail in color. But I think he did color this himself, because I looked all over the place to see if I could find credit for anybody besides him on these art pieces, and it's just him. This is, I believe, for Knights of Sidonia. So
that coloring looks like it's Blanchette that did that.
I'm not sure. I think I couldn't find anybody else's.
Yeah, I don't know, but the style. I mean, it may be him, but it looks like a guy called Blanchette.
Yeah, no, it's definitely European style. It doesn't look anything manga at all.
Yeah, it does look European. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, hey, Cookie. Thanks for dropping in. Nice to see you.
How you doing, buddy? Yeah. So I do agree. I don't remember the coloring being as atrocious as it was in this version.
I won't say atrocious, but it definitely kind of.
To me, though, it fits. I kind of it's how the book's supposed to look. I'm weird like that. I'm not a fan of digital remastering or anything like that. I actually like watching old horror movies that I originally watched on VHS because that's the way they look to me. So I mean, I know that you were saying like you'd prefer to see this book in black and white, and I think with this coloring, it's kind of how the book has looked for its entire life. So. And its weird atrociousness, I think that there's a little bit of beauty to it, because, like I said, it introduced me to a whole new world. Like, I had read like some Akira, and I'd read like some Ghost in the Shell stuff. I read some what's his name, Shiro Masamune. I've read like his stuff, but I wasn't like really steeped in manga. Like, this is the book that really broke me into like, because when I saw this, and then I looked up Blam, because I saw like. Like, what else did this guy do? Because I'm not a big Wolverine fan. I don't care much for the character. Like, I like him on film, and I do like certain books of his, depending on who writes them. But like, I find that he's a character that a lot of people are lazy with, and I don't find a lot of his books as exciting as like this was, because this just blew my mind. And I didn't know that this was pretty standard for kind of a manga story, but like at the time. Like, it was a brand new world to me, and like I really still appreciate it for that, because they didn't try to police him and tell them that like, no, you got to tell this kind of Marvel American-esque story. No, they let him straight up tell a seinen sci-fi manga adventure with Wolverine, which I don't really see Marvel taking that risk with too many people very often anymore. So like, it really is a one-of-a-kind book, and I'm really happy that they've reprinted it. Like, as ugly as the coloring kind of is, I still recommend everybody to go pick this book up. Like, it's one of the best things Marvel has released in a long time, or re-released in a long time.
And I'm not the biggest fan of trade paperbacks, but they did a beautiful job with this one. It's got the flat finish, but all the black is all spot gloss, right? Wolverine and I don't know if you can see it from the light. Yeah, you can see the spot gloss. You see how it's all glossy where the writing is? You see?
Yep.
So it's really cool. And the yellow's like a matte finish. Then they have like the folded page. Right? So you unfold it. Yeah. Then the backs, same thing. They have the fold in the backs, right? So you unfold it. Then you got the negative. They pulled the negative, so the black gives the yellow, which is pretty cool. Nice little touch. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful book.
So it's pretty prestigious for a trade. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
put some bells
very
and
much
on it,
very
more than
much.
just the back material too, which is all pretty new. Like you said, like it wasn't included in the original version, and they got Nick Dragotta to do a whole new blurb and everything for it, which was pretty cool.
And it is like, it's a 5-issue trade, and it runs like pretty standard, $30. It's not. It doesn't cost extra, 30 Canadian, so which
Canadian,
is 20,
so it's
20 US.
yeah.
It's written 20 US on the back. So, I mean, they put extra into it without charging extra, which is fantastic. It's a nice book to have on your shelf in your collection. I mean, it'll definitely stand out from other books when you pick it up, and you just the cover alone, when you get it, it's impressive, beautiful.
And just how minimalistic and simplistic it is, and it just shines, man. It's beautiful.
Wolverine on the top with the little Marvel logo. Then you got the author's name just on the bottom with a nice, simple, clean font. Just Wolverine Snikt with just Marvel, really small. And Viz, they teamed up with Viz to make this. Marvel did. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
That's like most of his stuff is actually put out through Vertical and Tokyo Pop. So Viz did put out like Biomega, but like it's kind of weird that they're attached to this. But good for them, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know,
get this book back out into people's hands, because it is so cool. It is so fun. Like
I said, if you just like Cookie, just tune in. If anyone else like they missed parts of it and they didn't hear me, if you're already signed up to the Marvel app for reading their comics, it's there, so you can get it there. But I do recommend. I think it's worth it if you want to buy it and own it, just for the packaging, like just the product itself, the way they put it out. The back matter is awesome. Seeing a lot of his pages in black and white, I think, is just worth the price right there of the trade. So, yeah, I recommend you go pick it up in the physical form. But if you're not sure about it, you can go read it on the Marvel app as well.
Yeah, but at the price that it is, and how long it's been out of print, and just how well received it is, I know like most people really like it. You know what I mean? That know of it. So I'm just really happy that they reprinted it, because I've been recommending the book for years, feeling bad knowing that like the original trade, like the out of print demons have it, and people want ridiculous monies for it, like on eBay and stuff. And then you can find the floppies. Hey, Ronan, what is up, dude? And yeah,
Ronan,
I think you'll really enjoy the book. Like it is beyond just a blast to read. Like it is.
Yeah. You want a good action comic? This is definitely an excellent action comic.
It's very
with horror, like I was saying, it's sci-fi horror action. So I mean, I love sci-fi, I love horror, and I love action. So, and it scratches every itch you could possibly think of. Yeah. So that is Wolverine Snikt by how do you pronounce his first name?
Tsutomu
Nihei. I'll get it right before we finish the episode.
Well, as big of a fan as I am, it was kind of hard for me to learn it at first too. It's not your typical like.
Yeah, but anyway,
lots of vowels in it for an Asian name. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read this. I think this was my daytime reading, and then I got Blam. It's actually Blam. The next book we'll be talking about is Blam. This is his first work, right?
Yeah. He was a architecture student. He had gone through school, top of his class. He was gearing up for an incredible career, and he decided to enter into a competition. And the first thing that he did was actually a version of Blam. I think it's available in one of the master editions. I know if you have the Tokyo Pop versions, it's in the first trade, but like the actual original Blam story that he did. And it won first prize, and he got a chance to do his strip in a magazine. So, and since then he's never really looked back, but like that explains like his just beautiful architecture scenes. I mean,
Mm.
oh my god, this is what really kind of sunk me. And it doesn't come up looking very good on the screen, but when you see this in print or like on the page, like even digitally, like oh my god, it just shines. It's so glorious. His backgrounds and just the detail he puts into everything. Like
So Blam, if you're subscribed to Kindle, all the volumes are available with a Kindle subscription. So there's 6 volumes, I believe, right?
7 if you count book 0,
Volumes.
which is Noise, the prequel graphic.
Okay,
There's a 0
but
book too.
yeah, you can go get these on Kindle with for free. You can read them for free if you're subscribed to Kindle. So it's readily available for practically nothing. I think what's Kindle subscription, about $10 a month, US, 14, 15 Canadian.
It's free if you have Prime, right?
Only certain titles are free.
Okay.
But then if you get the Kindle Unlimited, then it opens up the vaults. Like you have tons of books for free in there, like a bunch of like classics like All Star Superman, the first 3 volumes books of Swamp Thing by Alan Moore are included. You got tons of stuff. You got some what was it? Parasite was for free for a while. The manga. You got some manga on there. You got some big two. You got some indie books. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, very very similar to Comixology, but maybe not quite as vast with the subscription. Like I think Comixology offered a little bit more than Kindle, but Kindle definitely offers value for the money for the subscription.
They have all of these free to read on
Right
Kindle.
now.
And the thing is, like, these are the master editions, so they're about 400 pages each. They're phone books. These are huge editions, like, but you get to go through them pretty quick because, like we're saying, the way Nihei's, he's got a very cinematic style here. Like, check out this panel breakdown. Like,
very graphic, a lot of blood, a lot of explosions, a lot of limbs flying, a lot of heads exploding. I mean, this book is just like the Wolverine book. It's very, 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 very fast paced for the most part. Introduce a lot of characters. What's the city he lives in?
It's just called the city, pretty much, and it's the size of our solar system because basically, at some point, human beings lost the ability to speak to the machinery, the internet. So like the city just kept building itself bigger and bigger. So it just goes on forever and ever. It's the size of a solar system. So basically, like Killy, our main character, goes to these different fathoms and stuff like that, but they're almost like going to different worlds. Like there's one that he goes to where like the people are giant. Well, not giant, but they're like double the size of humans just because they were evolved that way.
Like Shaq would be a small guy in that group of people. Yeah. And what's his mission? He's going to find the gene,
the net terminal gene. So
the net terminal gene. That's his mission. Yeah, that's what drives him through this world, and you're following because he's on the search for this gene terminal thing. Yeah. And you get to meet like the different factions of people, and he's he's like one of the last like just normal humans that aren't modified, whether it be cybernetics or mutated or whatever. They're extremely rare, and he's one of the few ones. So everyone he runs into are all dumbfounded, like, oh, you're just a regular human. Where did you come from? And everyone he meets, it's like some people are just straight up murderous, and others are just trying to survive and welcome him. So you meet a lot of interesting characters all throughout his journey in this first volume. It's quite interesting.
It depends on who you are, where you were from, and like how you evolved. Because basically, you have the Silicon Life, which are these kind of they're the android type people that Killy kind of runs into at first, and like that he really hates. And they were basically made by the when the net terminal gene got shut off and everything got mutated, and like one of the funny things is through the book, Killy doesn't really show very much emotion. He's kind of like I said, Jason Voorhees-esque. But there's one part where he's talking about how he destroyed an entire village of Silicon Life, and he smiles for a moment, telling them that like, yeah, I found a place where I murdered like all your embryos, and the guy's like, oh, that was you, and like Killy just grins at him. It's so like it's kind of weird that like the one like kind of joy that the character ever shows is by like he just shows you just how disgusting the Silicon Life is without like going too far into.
And his gun is very what's his gun called?
The graviton beam emitter.
Yeah, that is one nasty weapon. And it looks like what, a 9mm gun, pretty much.
It's tiny, even in his hand, because he's supposed to be pretty big. I think he's supposed to be like about a 7-foot tall dude, and yeah, his gun looks tiny, but like it just devastates things. It just blows huge holes, and like this is like this huge throne room, and like that's just one shot. It just like knocked all these statues down and crumbled the walls, like just because
he has, like you said, he's cold-hearted motherfucker, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't hesitate. Someone like fronts on him, he's like, blam, that's it. Pulls out his beam emitter thing and just fucks people up. It's not even fucking people up, it's beyond fucking people up.
Yeah, it atomizes them. There is nothing left.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that, like even like severed body parts, a lot of it. Like, I don't think you could go 4 pages without someone losing a body part, getting murdered, getting beaten the shit out of. I mean, there's a lot of action in this. It's like you said, 300 to 400 pages, but it reads fast.
Yeah, because like a lot of it is also him kind of just mobbing around and like looking at the sites. You get a lot of to see what this world looks like. This is like one of the giant builder machines right here that is out of mission right now because it just ran out of things to work on, or like nobody's talked to it in a while. But like you just see stuff like this, and it's just rendered just so gorgeously throughout the entire run of the book that, oh my god, I was just so floored when I first discovered his work.
Yeah,
like
the architecture is beautiful. Yeah, there are some beautiful shots, like you said, of the architecture all throughout, and really good stuff. Really good stuff. Thanks for stopping in, Spanky. Have a good night. Spanky from the M-Pod is in the chats, or leaving the chats, going to bed from across the pond. Yeah, and this is one thing that I didn't want to bring up for the Wolverine, but that as I was reading this, you know what it made me think of? It made me think of if Clive Barker's Hellraiser was like a sci-fi movie.
A little bit, yeah. Especially with the way the characters,
yeah, like all the weird cybernetic like characters and the way they just the interactions, and they don't really explain why they're violent or want to kill. It kind of made me think of it, and like his designs.
Yeah, especially when you get to like the people in charge, like the administrators and stuff. They kind of have occultic symbols on their heads and stuff. There's kind of a demonic-ish look to some of his designs, especially. So I can see the Barker influence there.
Yeah. Like I was reading,
H.R. Geiger there too a little bit.
Yeah. Some of his, especially in the Wolverine one, you see a lot of the Geiger, like kind of like the aliens, like with the skull faced and stuff like that. Yeah. What was the thing? Remember, Schlepsig had said that the Wolverine book took place in the Blam universe, like they're connected. But you said it's not the Blam universe. It's because there was a logo or a symbol that he puts in all his stuff.
Yeah, there's a company called Toa Heavy Industries, and there's a little bit of they don't outright say the name, but you kind of see it in the future that he goes to, and like in the second book of Blam, like the big I don't know if you got there yet, but that's the place where he's trying to take the techno fissures to be safe. It's this giant structure that's like the size of worlds, it's the Toa Heavy Industries building, and that's kind of like where a lot of the book will take place after book 2. Like you
Okay.
kind of kind of start understanding what the safeguards are and what the administration is, and you kind of really understand the hierarchy of the world and how what Killy's actually up against, with the net space and what is lying in wait for them if they can get a hold of the net terminal gene. Like this book goes really deep, and it even fucks with some time travel. Like it goes any place like sci-fi can go, but while at the same time just staying so like white knuckle action the entire time. Like
And by the end of this story, he meets his partner, right? So he flies pretty solo for the most part. He's with this young person who kind of bites the dust pretty early on, right? When the introduction to the book.
yeah, he's escorting a kid that he thinks has the gene, and like yeah, he gets blasted in the Silicon Life get a hold of him, and he's able to deliver it to the people that he works for, but like they say that he's just like normal, like regular before the fall, but I don't think he had the gene, so like they tell Killy that he's got to go 5,000 floors up because there might be people up there, and
And yeah, when he gets to the top there, well, maybe not to the top, but when he gets close to the top, uh, takes that flight with the crew with the talking head. What is that character? Are there more characters like that in the ship, like the talking head?
the cyborg, yeah, that
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff like that. There's like this
yeah.
weird little ghost glitch thing that like kind of helps him out in book
Mm.
5 or 6. Yeah, like he's got like a lot of weird little quirky computer cyberpunk characters like that
Yeah, like
pop
that.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, there's in book 2 there's like these cool little techno fairies that help him and Sibo
Okay.
out. Like yeah, he kind of has like a weird like kind of like fantasy characters reworked as cyberpunk characters as kind of dragons at one point in it, you know what I mean? Like he has a lot of fun with creating
Yeah.
these kind of very metal things with his world.
Yeah, like, and that's probably some of my favorite well, there's so many great parts in it, and where he finally meets Sibo.
Yeah, Sibo.
Those scenes where he gets to the what is it called, the
The
factory
cluster.
place. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then she shows up, and yeah, shows up just in time because he might have. He might have met his match, but you'll see anyway. There's some cool scenes there where you're like, "Oh shit!" Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about Nihei is like his main characters. They get their asses kicked a lot. Like Kelly and it happens in other books too. Nagate Tanakaze and Knights of Sidonia, and I forget dude's name in Biomega. Like they get the shit kicked out of them, and usually like the side characters have to come and help them out a lot, which I kind of find interesting. You don't see that too often in other seinen or shonen manga, and you definitely don't really see it too often in American superhero comics. Not that I would really call Blam a superhero comic. It's more along the lines of something like Fist of the North Star, but like mixed with some Clive Barker, and because Killy's like that, he got mobs around and helps people reluctantly, and but instead of like having mad kung fu skills, he's just got the graviton beam emitter that just blows holes in anything in his way.
Yeah, because he's a pretty basic character, right? The design of him and stuff. He's dressed in black. He's got that little gun, but then Sibo shows up, and she's got a pretty cool design. I dig it, like just her style with all the freaking wires and the stuff. She's got a cool design. I really dig her look.
I don't know if I got anything of her. But yeah, Killy.
Those are the giant people you were talking about.
Yeah, in the cluster.
Like there's different societies and different types of people. There's probably the few characters he meets that are pretty peaceful. There is them and the dude there that he stopped the construction bots. They're pretty amicable as well.
That guy was weird though. I think
he was weird. He was a weirdo, but
I think he probably ate people. He's like one of those weird people you run into.
Cannibal. Yeah, he gave off cannibal vibes. Yeah, for sure. Because he always had the big eyes like that with the messy hair
and he had like all the weird dolls. You know what I mean? People that collect dolls, like especially in the post-apocalypse, like you're probably scary. He
had squirrely vibes for sure.
But like like I love that like they set up the book for Killy to go up higher, but the thing is he gets his ass kicked, and gets thrown down, and like he finds this giant bridge that he crosses, and that's how he goes to the cluster and meets Sibo. And like I like that there's really no structure to his journey. He just kind of just keeps going forward, no matter like if forward was like what was left originally. You know what I mean? Like he never stops mobbing, but like sometimes he gets knocked in a different direction, and it doesn't deter him. He just keeps going forward, whichever way that is now. You know, which is like kind of a really neat way to take a book because I just really enjoy the structure of Blam. Like you can get
Like
the entire run really fast. I think you can read the whole thing in a night, in my opinion. And
pretty close, yeah. I did too. Like maybe, like I said, I read it going to bed on the tablet. So, and I got it done in 2 nights with just quick reading before bed. Yeah.
so
Yeah, and people like characters' expiry dates in this are like I think milk lasts longer than most of the characters in this book.
yeah, I mean even people you think are main characters, like they'll get killed off and then but they'll show back up. That's a weird thing about this book too, is like they mess around with the time stream and stuff like that. So like you will get different versions of characters that are different than their original versions, which I always love when people play with stuff like that. And I think that how loose and just evolving the story structure of the book is, it kind of really lends really fun to it. I mean, I'm definitely talking about where the book goes after the first for people that are interested to get into reading this. Like it is an always evolving little story, and I think for the good length that it ran, because I think it was like 12 regular manga books, and then there's 6 of the master editions, which are I think 3 of the regular book size. So
Yeah. Yes.
there is a lot of this book, but the cool thing is like it always reads really fast. There are parts where it gets really kind of into the story and will explain to you how the world works, but they're kind of few and far between. You kind of like really got to read a couple books to get back to where like they really start explaining stuff and get back into exposition. Like it's not there are like long swaths of the book that are just huge action sequences. But what's cool about this than within a lot of other mangas that I've read that done that is the action's always really clear to follow. You always understand who is doing what and like where each like laser blast is coming from, and like which is kind of difficult to tell in some of the other stuff that I've read where like there's this huge action scenes like the Trigun manga. Like this is nowhere near as confusing as the action is in that. Like this is a lot more straightforward and clear to understand, just because I don't know, the dude's geometry is just so on. Like I there are a few people whose art just blow me away, like Tsutomu Nihei's, but like and I wish that his art looked a lot better compressed like this on the screen. Like it's not like when you look at the book itself, it looks so much better than the way the shots are looking, popping up, at least the way they're looking on my screen.
Yeah. What another book you mentioned of his was Knights of Sidonia. What are some of his other works?
All right, so he's done a couple short stories that are shorter ones, like Abara is Viz put out a hardcover for that a couple years ago. That one's a little more superhero y, where it's like a dude fighting and he can kind of change into like a monster, but like it's very Nihei looking. Then he did there's another short story that's usually connected with that called Digimortal. He's done Aposims, he's did Biomega, Knights of Sidonia, Deadheads. He's got quite a few things, but like his longest running ones is Blam, which like I said ran for 10 or 12 books. Biomega was 6 books, Knights of Sidonia is 15, and then Aposims is I think still ongoing, but I think there's like 10 or 12 books for that already. So which running weekly in a magazine, or I think his run weekly in magazines. So I think he's those series run for a good couple years each. So like he's got a nice chunk of work for a guy that's been around as long as he has, a little more than usual, even though it doesn't sound like he's got tons of stuff, because when you're a mangaku, like it's quite a bit different than American comics. You usually work on your strip, and like it's all you do for your life. They don't get paid shit, and like it, like I said, like they have to have so many pages weekly. So like it's a grind. The guys are always working, and but it's like this whole status symbol as that type of artist that they live for. So like they don't, like a lot of them will tell you not to feel bad for them. Like it's what they do. It's the grind set, but it's kind of a tragic life if you like look at, well, I forget his name. The guy that drew Berserk and a couple other guys kind of worked themselves to death in the life.
Okay.
But yeah, but yeah, that's how manga works, and yeah, that's kind of like how Tsutomu Nihei. But he's had quite a few really good adaptations. So like and his book work's been adapted to English quite a bit. So he's a little bit better paid than a lot of other mangakus are. So
And this book actually has a Netflix movie adapted to it.
yeah, and it's pretty good adaptation of a story that takes place in the second book. All kind of carries on to with characters that keep appearing until like book 4, I believe, of the master editions. But yeah, and the movie, I really like it. Some people say that it's boring, but I don't know what people were expecting. I think it's very gorgeously done. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people I know dislike it because it's computer animated, but I think that the company that did it, Polygon Pictures, they really nailed his art style. I think it's just as gorgeous as his artwork. I'd kind of like to see them do a black and white movie in his art style, because they also did Knights of Sidonia as well, and the anime for that. And I think that they really do his art style justice, and I think that they are a lot better of a digital anime studio than a lot others are. I think that their pictures move a lot more fluid than say like the people that did the newer Berserk anime and some of the other. But yeah, the Blam movie is phenomenal in my opinion, and um yeah, it kind of really shows the dichotomy of Killy, you know what I mean, like, very well. I think that he
See,
caught the film
my
very
my nephew was watching it, and then I connected it after. I was like, okay, I've seen this movie because I saw the movie not knowing what it was. My nephew was watching it when I was taking care of him one time, and he put that on, and I was watching it with him. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Like and then once I saw his design, like his creature designs and stuff, that's when it clicked. When I was reading Blam, I was like, okay, I've seen the movie, because the designs of his like monsters, creatures, whatever you want to call them, are pretty wild. Great, like creature designs and stuff. That's probably his like, aside from the architecture and stuff, I think his creature designs are top notch.
One thing I wish we kind of got to see more was that nasty slug tank thing that he jacks when he's fighting the two Silicon Life at the beginning. Remember, like the caterpillar tank that he's. I wish you got to see that a little more. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're so, and like, I think it's just him, like, just having fun, like, because a lot of these creatures or things he designs are fantastic, but they're only in it for like what, maybe 3-4 pages, or 10 pages, and then like they get taken out, or he destroys them or kills them. So yeah.
that gets a little longer. Like, like anything else, there's escalation. So like a lot of his monsters will start sticking around, and like he'll start having bigger battles, especially when he starts having to deal more with the safeguards, which are like the kind of weird robotic things that you'll see mostly in the movie, the kind of like really white faced androids with the crosses on their heads. Like they're basically an antivirus that gets loaded into reality whenever anything tries to access the net that's not supposed to be there. So these things actually see humanity as a virus because it's been so long since they interfaced with each other, and like Chili has to fight them a lot, but he doesn't hate them like he does the Silicon Life. But yeah, they're and there's so many other neat characters. There's this group of exterminators that he kind of runs with for a little while, like in the middle of the series, which are really cool, kind of like gung ho soldier type guys. Yeah, like there is a lot of really fun shit that just pops off in this book. It's a solid series all the way through.
Yeah, and the whole series is what, a little over 2,000 pages, I'd say. altogether. Well, I added it up, and it's north of 2,000 pages. So but like we said, it most of it reads pretty quick because there's a lot of action. So pretty cool stuff. I really enjoyed it, and I got started on the second volume a little bit. So yeah, he and Saibo, I should say, Saibo, are continuing their adventures together. So it'll be cool to see how he interacts with like a partner. So I'm looking forward to reading that just to see how Nahi kind of handles that, and it'll be fun.
She talks a lot, and he just kind of mobs along, just like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you know, that's just how Killy is, you know. I mean, he doesn't say much; he just stoic, you know, and his Benedict Cumberbatch looking ass, you know what I mean? Like, at least that's who I always kept thinking.
The strong silent type.
Well, just the way he looks too. I don't know why. Just the way, like, I'm like, you know, like they buffed Benedict Cumberbatch up a little bit. Like, he could totally play Killy in a live action Blam movie. I think if they do go with American actors, like I think that Japan could afford to make a live action Blam movie. I think it would be a really high production.
If they did a live action, it'd be kind of cool to see like the same style as Sin City, like kind of that black and white, high contrast. You know, it'd probably be cool with flashes of color. Like just put some splashes of color in throughout, and it'd be pretty cool.
It'd have to be heavy CGI, no matter what they did. If they, you know. Because like, especially if they were going to try to adapt it and like do all the fun things with the different characters, like with the giants and then the shorter people than him and the cool little techno fairies and stuff and these and dragonfly dudes and everything, you know, like you're going to have some serious CGI, even if like you do have a lot of practical suits and mocap going on. But I mean, I would love to see it, especially if somebody took it seriously, you know, like somebody made something good, like the Battle Angel Alita movie style on it. I would be for that.
Yeah. So man, that was my introduction to him, and I really dug it. So
yeah, you kind of learned about him the same way I did with the first two books, and in the same order too. You read Snikt first and then Blam.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. I think the Wolverine book I read in one night. Like,
I think the Wolverine book you could probably read in about 25 minutes if you just sat down and got.
Yeah, exactly. I read it. I was sitting in bed and before lights out, so I wasn't. Usually it's lights out, it's tablet time, so I managed to read that. Like, I cracked it open. I think, maybe not 25 minutes, but
the third issue,
I took my time.
One with any significant dialogue. That's the one where they kind of tell you the backstory, and then you have the Fusa explaining to Wolverine like how dire the straits are, and then it's like, and then you get to the big action scene, which kind of takes off right after that, where they get in the ship and fight the spider thing, and then ride the jet skis. And
but I caught myself going back all the time because, like I said, I love his designs for the creatures and stuff, so I kept going back just to kind of take a look. And
I love his art. I still really like his stuff, even though it's like streamlined, but I really miss his early era with because he doesn't draw his characters as stretchy anymore. Like his earlier style is very kind of similar to Clamp. I don't know if you know who Clamp is, but like they're classic manga from they've been around since before I was a kid, but like they are if you've ever seen a character that kind of looks a lot like Killy, like they're very long stretchy anime manga characters, they kind of really popularized that look. And I really like his art, like that style, a little better than his kind of streamlined. They're not chibi characters, but they're not exaggerated like lanky as his earlier stuff was. And I kind of miss that a little bit, but I still really like his art in Knights of Sidonia and Aposims, as streamlined as it is, because he's still got the gorgeous backgrounds. And I don't know, it was really neat to see him really just do a mecha series, and then Aposims is kind of more of like a, I'm not going to say Power Rangery, but it is like in that more like Kamen Rider type of territory. Like, but they're kind of at an academy where they're like learning how to turn into like the different the Ghana fighters, where they're kind of monster people, but like they're kind of superhero ninja looking, like Power Rangery, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but yeah, I like that he's getting his bag and that he's kind of become a more well-rounded storyteller, because his earlier stuff is very loose. Like I said, when he was writing Blam, like he would just start drawing the first panel of the that story freehand, and wherever that took him, that's where the story went. Whatever he thought of while he was drawing that original panel freehand for the fucking story, which is incredible to me. I can't imagine coming up with a story that way. So he's a very creative, amazing person, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's loose. Like, I like his style. It's very loose and free. You can feel it like as you're reading it. Like, the action sequences, and it's a little bit on the sketchy side. It's pretty loose, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
it gives it a lot of energy. Yeah, it gives the art a lot of energy.
Yeah, you could see that he was really hungry and just yearning. You know what I mean? You just see him just being excited, and the whole world, his whole world exploding in front of him, type thing going on with this book. And yeah, going through the rest of his work, you'll see him progress. And like, yeah, his art is way cleaner and way more streamlined now. But at the same time, I kind of really loved his kind of sketchy punk rock art too, a little better. But like, I'm not bad mouthing his new stuff. I absolutely love everything that he does. Like, I need to get caught up on Opposims, but like that's the thing with manga. Like, when you get caught up with it, like they'll start delaying like the next issues or the next books and stuff. So I like to keep some nice space between them. But yeah. I'm a few books behind on that. But
say hi to Al. Popped in the chats. Yeah. So man.
But if you're looking for inspiration even before getting into this, I'd say definitely check out the movie. The movie it'll give you somewhat of an idea what to expect, but I would say that the book is a lot more fun than the Blam movie, but I still love the movie. But definitely check out the Knights of Sidonia anime on Netflix. It is incredible. It is so fun, and it'll definitely get you more excited for his work, if nothing else does, in my opinion.
So go pick this up.
Definitely.
Go read Blam. Blam's free on Kindle. That you can either buy the trade that just dropped the middle of June, so you should be able to find that at your comic shop, or if you have the Marvel app, you could go read Wolverine Snikt on the Marvel app. And and Blam is available with a Kindle subscription. So if you have a Kindle subscription, you can read all the volumes of Blam for free with the subscription.
Or if you're a physical collector, you can still get the master editions for Blam pretty reasonable. I think they're still cover price, which I think they're $24 a piece, something around there.
Okay, yeah. For a 400 page.
Yeah, for a phone book. And it's oversized too, which is great. It's not like your typical. Okay. So like they're about the same size as your Akira.
Okay, yeah.
Akira's are just slightly wider, but like they're the same height and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're good size master edition, and yeah, they're good price. So definitely check those out. I think the original Tokyo Pop ones run for too much monies, but they're kind of fun too, because there's two different translations for it. Like each edition is actually different, and like that's why I keep calling him Killy, whereas you're probably used to seeing his name Kiri, because like the whole first decade I read Blam, his name was Killy, and then they're like trying to retcon it and tell me his name's Kiri, and I'm like, nah, I like Killy, man. Like that's way more gangster of a name for him. Kind of fits him a little better too.
Killy, he kills everything.
Yeah, he's kind of like the nicer Michael Myers, you know what I mean? He just kind of smobs around and fucks things up, but he does, like, he is very sympathetic to like kids and stuff. Like if he sees people getting messed with, he will defend them. But a lot of the rest of the time, like if you show up and you got guns and stuff, he's got like a very predator attitude. He's like, I don't trust you, and I'm probably going to shoot you before you have a chance to point your gun at me. Yeah, it's kind of his attitude.
Yeah. Ask questions later.
Which it's kind of fun. I like having a morally ambiguous, main character. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, shoot first, ask questions later. That's
and it fits like the total metal style of the book. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, for sure. So
Yeah, so like for once we're recommending stuff that's totally accessible, totally easy for you to go and find in digital and in print. So get on it, people. This is
Yep.
this is all good stuff, and you can't never get enough good manga in your life. You guys,
Manga.
yeah,
Manga.
checking out that.
Especially if you like that, like we were saying, this is total sci-fi horror action comics, man, or mangas. Well, Wolverine is a comic and Blam is a manga,
I
but
would
I
I would
mean,
still
you
call
could call
Wolverine
them
a
both
manga.
manga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like the only thing that they could do to make Wolverine a little better is swap it to right to left like a manga. That's
Yeah.
the only thing they could
Yeah.
do to make it more, and then put it in black and white, I guess.
Yeah, because most manga is black and white. Yeah. Yeah. So, I loved it. Thanks for the rec. Thanks for having me read it, and I'm looking forward to continuing with Blam.
Yeah, because it was what 1 week ago when I saw that they were finally reprinting Schnick, and I was like, dude, you got to get it. We
2 days before. Yeah, so it was like it released on the 14th of June or the 18th. I can't remember, but it was 2 days before you mentioned it, and I went and checked, and I saw the release date. I was like, oh, it's releasing in 2 days. So.
So yeah, I was really excited to do this because I've been recommending Schnick for years, and I've always felt terrible that it was so expensive for people to go try to find. So I'm really happy that now we can actually say, "Hey, go get it," and it's available for everybody to go and actually get. And a beautiful, probably the best that it's ever been presented.
Yeah,
I really like this
the edition.
Put out. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
Friday, we're going to be doing an open bar episode, right? We're going to try to get some.
Yeah, just whatever, man. People hang out. You want to talk about, I don't know, how your husband's pissing you off or your girlfriend's pissing you off. You can talk about whatever you want, man. You want to rant? You want to rant about your neighbor's dog shitting on your lawn? Well, you can talk about whatever you want.
It wasn't your neighbor's dog, it was Joe. We all know that.
There's a flaming poop bag on your porch. It wasn't me.
And yeah, probably next Tuesday we're going to be doing pink spots for Kiltopia. Maybe Friday, but yeah. We're probably aim for Tuesday for that, I think.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've already read. I think the first. I think I have that's number 5 now that just came out.
The fifth and final chapter, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think I've read up till I have 4 and 5 to read, so I should be able to bang that out.
Yeah, man, it's only going to be like 200 pages, something like that. They're like 90 pages each.
Yeah,
I'm going to reread the whole thing. It's going to be fun. I'm probably gonna finish reading Blam too, because like I'm dead in the middle of it. Like I'm like starting book 4 of the Master Editions.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a while since I've read it. I love the way the book ends too. It might piss some people off, but Blam it is so good. Like I know we keep saying it, but recommend just go pick it up and look at this art. Like. There is a lot of good manga art, but like I think Nihei is top of the pops. You know what I mean? Like I think that he shines above a lot of others that I've seen. I think he really is. DC.
Oh no, Ronan's saying DC released some manga on their app. I haven't signed up to the DC app yet. I'm going to, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet.
I have the old Bat mangas. I have the one that came out in the 60s, and then I have the one from the 80s that they've released. I don't know if they have any new stuff. I'll definitely check that out. But yeah, I like the old Bat manga. Maybe we could do those at some point if we do another DC episode or something,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be for sure.
I would like to see Nihei do like a manga for Dead Man or something like that. I think that would be kind of fun. See him. Trying to think. I think he could do a fun Batman, especially if he did like a fucked up cyberpunk Blam style Batman, like he did with Wolverine Snikt. If he like did some kind of crazy Batman Beyond book like that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I enjoyed the Batman anime, Ninja Batman or Samurai, whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. So.
I did too. I like that guy's stuff. He's pretty nuts though. The Gurren Lagann guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as soon as I knew that he was the guy that directed the movie, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that they all had crazy little giant mechs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mech and stuff. I'm like, that's just his style. If you ever saw Gurren Lagann, you would expect that from him.
Yeah. Cool. So thanks for the heads up,
Ronan.
Yeah, man.
It's good to have you here, man. I always appreciate you.
Yeah. So I was thinking of signing up to the DC app at some point soon. Maybe I'll get on that and go see what's up with all the manga on there.
Hell yeah. But until next week, you guys keep it classy, all right? San Diego.
Have a good week, everyone.